How's it going? I'm Jeremy. Just wanted to say this next video is more of a podcast that I did with my daughter Aspen when she was here right before the Seahawks game. And it's a little different. We touch on a lot of weird subjects, but I wanted to put it out there because we shot it and we can't reshoot it. You won't get the same chemistry. And so here you go. Hope you enjoy. The lighting's off. A lot of stuff's off on it. And we've improved a lot in the last month since this was shot. But anyways, here you go. Hope you enjoy. Later.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to give this a shot. I want to give you a breakdown of what I am looking for out of this channel. I want entertainment, I want education, but behind the scenes, what I'm looking for is to be a positive role model in a masculine role. Not trying to be a pussy. I want to be sensitive when I need to be sensitive, and I want to be firm when I need to be firm, but I want to show people what it's like. You can be both, and it's okay. I have a lot of family member and friends that are gay, and it doesn't affect me. I'm not offended by somebody who's gay, but I also believe that people have the right to be tough, and you shouldn't cry over spilt milk. If you stub your toe, it's okay to say, fuck, that hurt. It's okay. My daughter here, Aspen.
Hello.
We were talking about this and I was like, we need to film this. So here we are. We're gonna shoot it, and it may be horrible, but you're gonna be along for the ride. So she had a lot of really valid points. I am a very neutral person, especially when it comes to politics. I'm not a hardcore right, I'm not a left. I'm down the middle, which means I see both sides. Both people have the right to have an opinion, and that's okay. And I respect the other side's opinion as long as it's not an extreme view. And she's more on the left than me, but that's okay, and I respect it. Most of my family is on the left, actually, which is kind of funny. But I was raised in that environment, so I'm okay with it. It doesn't piss me off. It doesn't make me want to go out and say, oh, screw all these people. I'm okay with it. And I believe that there should be more men that can say, damn, that was loud.
What was that?
Either an explosion, firework, something, I don't know. We're in the valley, man, anything can happen.
Is my car still there?
Yeah, oh, and look at Jaylen.
This is Jaylen.
Jaylen's here on the phone. He's chiming in from Texas. And he's waving at the camera. And he's throwing up gang signs now because he heard some explosions. Yeah.
I could put this more in between us.
No, you're good.
Is it picking him up? Hold on.
I don't know. Jaylen, say something.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, it'll pick you up.
Okay. That's from like right here. Is it
Yeah,
picking
that's
both
fine.
of us up? Okay. I think we're good.
Yeah, and mine's picking it up too.
Okay.
So we're learning some new equipment. I just bought these microphones today, so bear with us. I'm probably going to leave this entire video intact. I'm not even going to edit it. I'm just going to put the whole thing in one giant chunk. So it's more like a podcast, as she was explaining to me. This is not a YouTube video. This is a podcast. So, but there's nobody calling in, and there's no special guests. So
I'm the special guest.
oh, okay. There we go.
I'm out of town and I'm in the military.
There we go.
But
I'm phoning in.
and he's phoning in. So
Did you say you're pregnant? You got something else to tell me? Damn, bro.
I told you I was more left.
Okay, come on. I don't care who you are. That was funny. That was funny. So hopefully everything's getting picked up and it's all good. I mean, we got the little red light, so we're just gonna run with it. Not you, because you'll need heels.
So something that we were talking about earlier.
Take it over.
I was asking him what he wanted out of his YouTube channel, because there are thousands of people trying to become influencers. There's thousands of people trying to get a point across and trying to do something, and I asked him, like, what do you want from your YouTube videos? And he explained the whole trying to be a positive masculine role model without it turning to toxic masculinity, because there is a very touchy line between when it is masculine versus when it turns into toxic masculinity. So I asked him, like, well, would you want to do an episode specifically about touching on what you think being a man is without touching on the toxic masculinity side, or what you think a man is without touching on the more hard to talk about stuff, such as how do you feel about going to a gay bar with your friends as a man who's straight, or how do you feel about women who have a higher body count, And these are conversations that usually don't get put out because it is a very touchy subject.
Obviously she put out
she definitely put it out. But these are tougher conversations that have very, very heavy views. You have the very feminist views, you have the very masculine views, and then you have the more neutral views where it's like, well, just let them be who they are. But from each person, you'll get a different side of something that can create a more positive, aspect of a view. And that's, I think, kind of what he was touching on, is he wants to give that positive experience for people to be able to talk about things that are harder to talk about, as well as give a place where if you're a guy and you don't know how to change your tire, then maybe he can show you.
I'll show you. It's all good.
If you want to know more about guns, because we're a big gun family, we can teach you. We can teach you about safe gun usage, as well as we could touch on the harder subjects of what do you think, how strict should gun laws be? Because there are, America is one of the top places for school shootings, and that is another subject that's hard to talk about as well.
And I'm okay. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's a really big part of.
Yeah, we'll circle back to that one. I want to touch on the whole going to a gay bar, because it's something I've dealt with. I'm younger in my life, I was very oh, you're gay. Oh, I don't want to catch that, so stay away from me. Does that matter?
It does, because it's two different in back in your day.
All right. To be fair, I am 45 years old. I am not old, but I am not young. I have lived. I've experienced things. And when I was born, it was the 70s, late 70s. I went through the 80s as a child. I went through the 90s as an adolescent, going through high school, becoming an adult. And when I was becoming an adult, being gay was still weird. And I mean that not as a disrespectful term, but it was still not accepted everywhere. And it was okay. Now, it's okay. No one's gonna really, okay.
Well, in America.
In America.
Most of America.
A lot of people are going to just accept you for who you are if you're gay. And I'm all for that. Nobody should tell another person how they should live their life, period. On that same token, growing up, it wasn't like that. It was, oh, you're gay? Oh, careful, I don't want to get too close to you. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm not gay. And it took a while for me to break past those barriers. And it wasn't until a friend, we're just going to say friend because it's easier, took me with her friend that was turning 21 to a gay bar. And I was just I don't know if I want to do this. And I went and I had a blast. Everybody was nice and respectful. And they were oh, hey, and I'm hey, I'm straight. And they're cool, here, have a drink. And I'm hey, these people are all right. Nobody fucking touched me. Nobody did anything crazy. They respected my boundaries. And at that point, I started to accept that, you know what? They're just doing their thing just like I do my thing. And it's okay. So yes, I've been to a gay bar. Am I gay? No, but I've still been to a gay bar. On more than one occasion, by the way. So, next topic. Ding, ding, ding.
Jaylen, have you been to a gay bar?
Multiple times.
Are you gay?
No, I am not.
Are you sure?
But I have a lot of friends that are part of the LGBTQ community, and I can second what Jeremy said. I have a lot of fun going out to Montrose, which is the area that a lot of those bars are at where I'm from. And I've got no issues with going. I actually have more fun than when I go to some of the other clubs that I've been to.
It's a very different atmosphere.
It is.
And it is very different for women than it is for men.
It is.
If a guy asks me, hey, you want to go to a drag show? I'm oh, fuck yeah. But with men, if I was hey, Jaylen, you want to go to a drag show? It's not his scene, but that doesn't make him that doesn't give him a negative connotation to me. That just means...
Very good point. If you're not used to it and you're not comfortable in that scenario, it's not a bad thing to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be you know what, that's not really my thing. But that also touches on being okay in your own skin. So if you know that something is just not your thing, it's okay to say, you know what, that's not my thing. Doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that you are aware enough of how you are and you're willing to speak up for what you believe, which is your own feelings, and that's okay. Doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a negative person. Now, if you talk bad about that situation, then now you're stepping on the line of being hateful and being a bigot and being a mean girl, if you will.
Being an asshole.
There you go.
Like,
She said it. I didn't have
you're
to.
being an asshole. Like, if that's not your scene, you just be like, hey, that's not my scene. Like, go have fun, but I don't want to tag along. And that's fine.
And on the flip side of that, the person that's asking you to go should respect what you say. If they don't, that's on them. Now they're the asshole. And that's okay too. Like, you don't always have to be the perfect person in a scenario. You can just be, who you are, what this is your comfort zone. You live here, and that's okay. And if somebody's asking you to step outside of that, that's your choice. If you want to, go for it. Let your freak flag fly. But if you don't, and that person doesn't respect it, that's on them. And just be like, hey, you asked, I said no, it's cool, man. Like, we're all good. Now you're starting to make me a little, upset, angry, because you're pushing it. Like, I said my piece, respect it. And I just went on a huge tangent that I didn't need to. So,
I mean, I think it's always a good idea to try something once before you make a
twice. You always have to try it twice, because the first time could have been a bad experience. You don't know.
Exactly. But I would say at least try it before you just knock it. If you've tried it and it's still not your scene, and you've tried it again and it still wasn't your scene, like, you have the right to say no. And if they're going out to a different place after the drag show, you'd be like, hey, I'll tag along with you guys there, but I'm not comfortable going to a drag show, or I'm not comfortable going to a gay bar. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person, but I would say if you're not comfortable going to a gay bar, maybe you should ask yourself some questions as to why. Are you gay? And you just don't want to admit it? But I mean, that was a joke.
No, I mean, no, I get it. But on the flip side to that one, I think that you should ask yourself some questions internally, but don't put too much weight on it. Just like ask yourself, like, am I okay with gay people? Like, is this something that I really would be okay with if I didn't think my friends were gonna judge me? Or is it like deep down, soul searching, you're like, I've been dreaming about this sex with a man for like 20 years.
With this sex, yes.
And like, you got something to like kind of own. Work through. That's a good way to put it. So yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head with it. With just a simple word of respect. Just making sure that you are respecting each other's boundaries, and if you do get offered, something that you're not necessarily comfortable with,
don't knock it before you try it.
Yeah. I mean, being respectful and just having that open line of communication to make sure there is no misunderstanding, because the misunderstandings that people have, or lack of communication, are really what causes a lot of issues nowadays anyway.
People can't talk anymore. You can't have an opinion, and I can't have an opinion, and she can't have an opinion.
Especially if they're different.
Unless they're all the same. If they're all the same, it's all good. We can all team up together and protest and riot and do whatever we want to do.
I hate men.
Whatever it is. I hate Chicken Little. Like, I don't know. I mean, you can just put whatever you want in that place of men, and you can band together if you have the common enemy. But if I have an opinion that's different from hers, we can't talk about it. In today's society, it's so dangerous to have a conversation because somebody's going to get offended. And it's not like 30 years ago. If you offended somebody, you said, you know what, my bad, I'm sorry. And you moved on, and that was the end of it. It wasn't brought up again. That person may still have ill feelings about that conversation, but that's where it ended. We just knew not to talk about that in the future. Now, if I say something that offends her, she tells 10,000 people through her channels that I'm a horrible person, and then you get the cancel culture. And I know I'm kind of switching gears a little bit, but if I have an opinion and it's different from hers or his, I'm the bad guy. And you don't have to be the bad guy just because you think differently. Not everybody's right. Like, across the board. I have a feeling about certain things. I think Ferraris are better than Lamborghinis. I might not always be right, but that's my opinion, and I have the right to it. She might think Subarus are better than Dodges. I don't know.
I do agree with that.
But that's her opinion. And I can't sit there and belittle her because she feels that way. And in today's society, it's so much like, well, you don't think like me, so you are wrong. And that's just not how it is. It's more about, I have an opinion, you have an opinion, let's respect each other and have a discussion. If you can't have a discussion, let's just not talk about it. And I don't mean that like let's sweep it under the rug and not talk about it. I mean it's like we should just not talk about that.
Disagree and
exactly.
move on.
Agree to disagree and move on. That's like the easiest way to put that. Man, quit looking to him for approval. He's on my side too.
We always say agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's right?
Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree, and we move fast and we move forward.
All right. So, anyways, next topic.
I feel like there's a lot of things we can touch on.
Well, let's touch on all of them. What? We got nothing but time. We're going to the Seahawks game tomorrow, so let's go.
Go Texans.
Go Seahawks.
Hey, you.
Texans. He got me this hoodie, so he's lying.
Yes. Yes.
But I think within every friend group, within every family, within honestly any type of partnership, there's always going to be disagreements. There's going to be
Always.
difference of opinion. There's going to be, and I will admit, especially when it comes to relationships, it can be really hard if you guys have very different morals on something. But if you guys can talk about it and actually properly communicate, then yeah, it can help give an idea more of like, oh, actually, I do see where you're coming from. Maybe I am wrong. And then they can go, oh, I see where you're coming from. And maybe we can become more of like a middleman. Like we can kind of agree. But if it's
Compromise.
compromise.
It sounds like utopia.
But if there's major differences, like I believe that everyone has the right to a gun. But I don't actually believe that 100. Just by the way, I think most people have a right to a gun. But if the person I'm dating, or even if my family members were like, no one could ever have a gun, I could be like, it could cause some issues at Thanksgiving for sure. Issues in your relationship, because within each opinion, there are going to be hard pushes of you're wrong. And
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of the bills that have passed recently. Like, that's another big thing. It's talking about politics between family members, between relationships and friend groups. If one of my
100%.
friends were super, super left and I'm super, super right, and I was like, abortion shouldn't be legal, and he's like, how dare you say that? The next thing you know, there's a whole, and it could be a end to a friendship.
Yeah,
Just because of two different views.
it's very true.
And if you look at any of those major conflicts in today's world that aren't talked about, or they're hard pushed, that's another thing.
Yeah.
They're either not talked about, or they're pushed so hard, you get upset with the person pushing it.
Yep, it's very true.
Like, and that's like
Politics.
another.
What was that?
Politics and religion. Two things I
and
do
sports.
not like discussing with
Sports.
people.
You got to throw sports in there.
Sports.
3 things you never talk about.
Finances. I'm just kidding. You definitely want to talk about those.
Definitely talk about the finances. You don't want to be popping that one 6 months into a relationship. Oh, by the way, I'm broke.
And I'm $35,000 in debt. But there's like, within every ideal friend group, there should be difference of opinion, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Because difference of opinion.
Otherwise, it's a cult.
It's a cult, or it turns into not a hate group, but it turns into a group that just talks shit on people. And who wants to be out around all that negativity? Like, I get you.
There are
thrive in the
people that
moment.
do. There are people that do thrive on that negativity, and those are the kind of people I just want to put over there. I don't want them in my inner circle.
Distance yourself.
Exactly. But there are people that thrive on that. They want that attention and that negativity, and they want that to be drama just in their life at all times. If there's something, if the world is good, they're not happy. Like, they need negative in their life.
But they won't claim it as negative.
No, they'll say that you're causing drama for bringing it up. But
And that's a whole nother topic that's hard to discuss. Like, there are so many things that people victimize themselves in. There are so many things that people blame, not victimize, what is it, victim blaming? There's that as well. There's 2 sides to every story. There's 2 sides to every opinion.
well, there's 3.
3.
Yeah, there's 3.
Yeah.
There's
5.
yours, mine, and then the truth. Yeah, but he got it.
I was gonna say there's right, wrong, and neutral.
No, I disagree with you. Are we gonna have words now? Are we gonna step outside?
Yeah, we're gonna step outside. We'll be right back. I'll lose, and then I'm gonna victimize myself. And
Round 1.
Wow! Bam, bam, bam! She's just laying it on there.
But there's so many things in today's society that people find it so hard to either talk about or they are so willing to talk about it, but they don't want to hear another opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, within everything. Like, I personally believe that everyone should know how to change a tire. But if you're a super macho man, you might be like, oh, no, that's the man's job to fucking change her tire. Like, but if she gets stranded in the middle of the road in the middle of the night, and there's no one there, she should know how to change her tire. Or there's, men can't cry. That's another really big thing. And that's another big topic. And I think that, yeah, maybe you shouldn't cry over dropping a spoon or stubbing your toe, unless you broke it. If you broke it, you have a legit reason to cry.
Have you ever stubbed your toe?
Oh, it hurts.
That shit hurts.
Oh, it hurts. So maybe you can cry for stubbing your toe, but...
That's where the fuck shit motherfuckers come in.
But there's a lot of things that if you are experiencing a large emotion as a man, you should be able to express you are hurting. And like...
And so from a man's perspective, I kind of agree with that. I believe that...
The difference of opinion, I'm out.
Yeah. I believe that you should have the right to express some emotion, but it's over the top emotion, which everybody's guilty of. If you say you're not, then you're lying to yourself.
Women are not emotional at all.
Okay. I need another cab.
I'm not afraid to say that when I watch a movie and at the end of the movie, the climax is building and then the mother and the father meet up after years of separation, that I don't get a little tear in my eye. I do.
I never stopped loving you, Gary.
Exactly. It's emotional. it tugs on the heartstrings. And I might well up a little bit. I'm okay. I'll admit it. Does that make me a pussy? No. It just means that I have emotions and I'm not afraid of them. Now, do I sit there and go, oh my God, I can't, it's too much? No, because I'm a fucking man. With that being said, I am willing to touch on my emotions. I'm not willing to drown in my emotions.
That's a good way of putting it.
Now, I don't think that that's the same solution for everybody. I think that people are going to have to approach that on their own. But you should be willing and able to touch on your emotions, because if you can't, then you're closed-minded and you're closed off and you're not going to have a lot of success in a lot of areas when it comes to personal connections, because you're not being real, you're closed off. And on the flip side to that, I like to say that. I've said it like 4 times already. The flip side, the flip side, the flip side. Jaylen, did you hear that? The flip side.
No, one more time. Just
the flip side. Let's go.
Okay, got you.
Man shit, the flip side.
Man shit. Hey, that's the name of the podcast right there. Done.
Girl, I'm the flip side.
That's it. Okay.
It's got a ring to it.
New strategy. Every man shit videos fucking podcast is going to have a woman on the opposite side of the table. Everything's going to be a discussion from 2 different points of view. You're seeing it right now. This is live. Well, you're seeing it recorded, but this is live right now.
In this room, you guys can figure out who. Babe, did you catch that?
No, I missed it. I'm sorry.
That was pretty funny.
I said there's 2 pussies in the room. You guys can decide who it is.
It's technically a buddusy.
I hope that the audio caught that, because that was funny.
I might have been laughing too loud.
So, anyways, I forgot where I was at.
The flip side.
The flip side.
The flip side. Yeah, every man shit video.
Yeah. So, back to the topic. You should be able and willing to touch on your emotions as a man. Doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you girly. It doesn't make you feminine. It means that you have a heart and you're willing to show it a little. That's all it means. Yes.
Question as a woman. Do men truly believe that women will lose respect if a man cries?
To a point, yes.
Yes.
Men do believe that women will respect them less if they show emotion. Now, I believe that there is a certain, like, if you were to put it on a scale of 1 to 100, if you keep 90% toughness and 10% emotion, no, in my opinion, no woman's gonna disrespect that or think less of you. But if you show 50% emotion, you might be gay. Just saying. So, on that,
maybe not gay, but you're definitely pushing a boundary that might be past societal norms. Like, I
was over exaggerating, but.
Like, once again, and he grew up with gay being an insult, okay, guys? So,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. But,
gay wasn't happy when I grew up.
But there's a lot of things that, yeah, men should be able to show their emotion, and I also think it's up to each woman.
Yeah.
Because there are women, and I can agree as a woman, there are women who believe that men shouldn't show emotion, that they need to be the strong-headed one because women are the emotional people. But if you look at, this is another tough subject, the suicide rates of men versus women, they're higher.
Yeah.
Because men don't have the same availability, but the same outlets that women do. If a woman went to someone and cried, they'd be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? What happened?
You get a hug, you get a tap on the
comfort.
back. Yeah.
Whereas if you do that as a child, let's say you're a 10-year-old boy, you fell off your bike, you're really hurting, and your dad goes, toughen up. To me,
Rub some dirt in it, boy.
like there is a point when, like there is a toughen up spot, but also there should be a point where you're like, are you okay? Let's talk about why you're crying. Are you seriously injured? Are you? And that's when you can help them work through why they're actually crying. Because as a young boy, you're going to have higher emotions because, one, you don't have society pushing something on you. You have your parents. Just saying. And it's really about how you were raised. You look at someone who was raised in Texas versus someone who was raised in Oregon versus someone who was raised in Maine. There's going to be 3 different ways of parental raising there, as well as 3 different ways of how men can express their emotions.
Look at it this way. Is it cola, is it soda, or is it pop?
Exactly.
They're all the same thing. 3 different regions.
And 3 different types of parenting, 3 different types of views. So, back to the subject, because I went on a tantrum.
It's all right.
Tantrum? No.
Tangent.
Tangent.
Yeah. I think that...
Brownie points if you can spell that.
Tangent.
Yeah, that's right.
I got the brownie points.
Google, fact check.
But I think there is a point when a woman might lose respect for you, but it also depends on the woman you're with. It's the same with a man who can only take so much drama from their girl.
Or body count.
Or body count. That's another really tough subject.
Let's hit on it because, well, who doesn't want to talk about sex? I mean,
Let's hit that!
except,
Hey.
wait. Time out. This is my daughter. We're not talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a conversation that everyone should be able to have. And to touch a little bit more on it, I was adopted. He did not raise me. There's a slightly different
Dynamic
between us. I don't talk to him about my sex life. He doesn't talk to me about his. But we can have open conversations about subjects that usually parents and kids would have a harder time talking about because there isn't that
True.
normal dynamic.
I still change your diapers. So.
You still did change my diapers. But when it comes to body counts, because I'm still going to touch on it because I have no boundaries.
I'm not offended by it. I'm not like, oh my God, we're going to talk about this. We're adults. It's life.
Welcome to a dad and daughter podcast, right?
Yeah. Like,
we're going to touch on the weird shit that families don't normally talk about.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's
Why
what I'm
not?
talking about.
You're way too excited about that. That sounds like a fetish to me.
Ew! Line crossed. And I would like to say he crossed it.
Oh, come on. That was funny. That was funny.
But I think that with societal norms, there was a time back when women could only sleep with one person and men could sleep with whoever the fuck they want. And even if they were married, like back in like the 50s, you look at that, a lot of women were unhappy in their marriages, statistically proven.
Yeah.
And their men had multiple mistresses. But in that day and age, women relied on men to provide. We couldn't have our own bank accounts. We couldn't have jobs.
Couldn't vote.
We couldn't vote. We couldn't do so much that men could, so we needed a man. We are reaching a day and age where women don't need men. Yes, you need them for baby making, but...
Well, you could go to a facility.
But you still need a man. But it's reached a day and age where women have more choices than they once did. Like, we couldn't even have bank accounts until, 1978, 1979? I think it's when women were allowed to have their own bank accounts without a man on it.
I don't know the year, but she's right.
It was in the 70s.
Fact check that shit.
Google.
I got you. On it now.
You're our statistics man. But
Put it up on the screen.
1974.
1974.
There you go. I wasn't even born yet.
I wasn't either.
That's true.
I wasn't even thought about yet. I don't think I was thought about when I was made either, though.
Damn. That hurt a little. Look at the look on your face.
He's fact-checking. He's our statistics
Yeah,
man.
because it's giving me 2 different dates.
Is it saying 1974 or 1984?
I see 1974, and then I see 1960s when it says women gained the right to open a bank account.
With their
But
husband's
it was-
permission. So in the 60s is when a woman could get a bank account with their husband's signature. They had to
So
have a man on it.
1974 is when the Equal Credit Opportunity Act
Exactly.
passed.
That is when women
women in the
can
U.S.
have
were granted the
their
right to
own.
open a bank account on their own. Okay,
Yep,
there it is.
Yep. So in the
Gotcha.
60s, women got the right to a bank account
With their husband's permission.
permission. In the 70s is when they got their right to have their own. And that was what, 50 years? It's been 50 years?
Yeah,
Oh,
50
next
years
year.
next year.
Yeah.
2 months. 2 months. It'll be 50 years.
50 years isn't a lot of time, if you really think about it.
No, that's how far they can hold files in the U.S. government. Like 50 years until they have to release it to the public.
Unless they...
Yeah, unless they double down and redact it again.
Yeah,
but whatever.
most of the time it happens.
We're not talking about that. Different topic.
But in the 50 years, a lot has changed.
Including
The
how
internet.
women, the internet, accessibility to certain sites. But
This just got really awkward.
yeah, he said some weird fetish about dad and daughters, and I say something about certain sites, which I never specified.
Mine wasn't about dad and daughters. It was about his thing about
Hell yeah.
leave it to a Texan. Hell yeah.
America, fuck yeah.
I was really thinking of the Water Boy, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Adam Sandler.
But I think I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, me too. We got distracted there by
Went
a
on
bunch of tangent.
I'm struggling.
Went on a tangerine.
We went to Tangier.
But I think, we were talking about body counts and women
Oh,
and how
yeah.
things have changed.
So, from a man's perspective, there are a lot of super masculine dudes that are like toxic masculinity.
toxic masculinity.
That are like, if you've slept with more than one guy, I can't be with you. You're a hoe. You're a slut. I don't agree with that.
Double standard.
Exactly. I believe that if you have good intentions with the person you're with, that's all that matters. Doesn't matter how many people you've been with before, because from a man's perspective, I've been with a lot of women. It doesn't make me a bad person. So why should I judge a woman because she's been with a lot of men? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So if I can sleep with whoever I want, why can't a woman? What's the problem with that? I don't see the issue. Apparently a lot of people do, and they think it's the most like ridiculous thing. You can't be a pure woman. You can't be worthy of marriage.
Pure. That's a big word.
Yeah, whatever. I was just using it as an adjective. But anyways, I don't think it should be as big of a deal as it is to those super toxic masculinity type people. I believe that if you like that person and they like you and you move forward into a relationship, all the rest of it goes away. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you've been with 2 people or 20 people. It doesn't matter. 200 people. It's none of your damn business. It was before you. As long as that person is true to you and you respect each other, that's it. And on the flip side, it shouldn't matter if you've been with 2 or 20 or 200 women. It shouldn't matter. And people that say, well, we should talk about how many people, why? Why open yourself up to that type of conversation? That's only going to lead to somebody having, hurt feelings or being butthurt or being like, damn, I missed out. I could have been with 100 more people.
Or, oh, damn, she's not pure anymore.
Pure.
She's not.
Damaged goods.
She's now damaged goods. She's no longer the type of woman I would want to marry. And that shouldn't dictate, in my opinion, as a woman, that should not dictate who you end up with.
Yeah.
Whether I've slept with 1,000 people or one, honestly.
Damn, 1,000 people.
We went on a large number there because I wanted to prove a point. But how does that affect your current relationship? If she is still doing it while you're in a relationship, then
That's a whole different topic.
different subject. It's a whole different problem. But if she is 100% true to you and you are 100% true to her, then what is the issue?
There shouldn't be one.
Only thing you're going to get is experience on both sides.
Not a bad thing. So, next topic.
Oh, wait, we got one more person here.
Oh.
Our statistics man wants to input.
Chime in, sir.
This one can be really, really touchy.
Perfect.
Because I do have a different viewpoint. I do think that, well, first let me preface, I would rather not know, me personally. But I do think that body count can matter in certain situations just because...
Can you give an example of a situation?
Just for context.
Yeah, just for context.
Okay. If, let's say you were involved with somebody who had done corn in the past. I use C. So if they had done something like that where there's images, videos, stuff like that that can be found.
But that's also a different subject.
Did he
That's
say
a sex
porn?
worker.
I thought he said corn.
He said porn. Yeah, he did, because he was trying to censor it.
Oh,
he was
okay.
talking about porn. But that's also a whole different
I did
subject.
not catch that.
You are then touching on sex workers, which is a whole different subject.
Right, but they have relationships too.
They do. But I'm talking about the average everyday woman.
Well, why
Like he did give us like a context, but that's going more into sex workers than it is on the average woman.
Okay. Well, I am a believer in general, a majority of women, sex is usually more emotional than it is for men. I am a big believer
That's
in
true.
that.
Yeah.
That's true.
And so with that being said, if you have a woman with a high body count, and sometimes that can play a part in deteriorating a relationship, and that's something that I can use anecdotal experience or as far as what I've read and seen, and I've seen other instances where that has played a part in ruined relationships.
How?
Because they can't have the truest intimate, like they're not capable of having the intimacy at its full capacity because of how many people they've been with in the past. That's just my own personal belief on it.
So what you're saying is that every time a woman gets sexual with a man, she's giving a part of herself away. So when she finally reaches a point where she's ready to settle down, she has then given her enough of herself away. She's no longer whole.
I'm just gonna say I disagree with both of them.
No, I'm just curious. Like.
And so I'm saying, like, I don't think they would have the same type of bond. Now, in general, I do know that there are cases where, you know, some women, you know, do that kind of stuff or are promiscuous for other reasons as a whole. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in, for men, sex is not emotional for the most part. And for women, it's more emotional than it is for men. So that's why I think there is that difference.
Okay. So I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna say I respect your opinion.
But fuck you.
No, I didn't say that. I respect your opinion. You grew up in a different place, a different time, and I respect that. That is what you are familiar with.
Right.
I am not familiar with that same scenario. I believe that a man can like sex because it feels good. I believe a woman can like sex because it feels good. And that's it. There's nothing else that needs to be said about it.
Yeah.
It's not an emotional connection, it's a physical connection. Sometimes, and this is real man talk. You see a woman and you're like, God damn, I want to fuck that.
That?
No, what I mean is that woman makes me want. I've never spoken to this woman. I've never had a conversation. I've never had an interaction. But something physically makes me want to be with that person. That could be a raw man emotion, like, oh,
she hot. Let me hit that.
Right? Or it could be a subliminal, like, this is a breeding thing. I don't know. But sometimes I see a woman and I'm like, God damn. All right, there's no emotional connection there. That is a straight physical connection. Sometimes it's reciprocated, sometimes it's not. You don't know.
Until you try. That's your.
And I believe women can have, so where I'm going with that is I believe women can have that exact same emotion towards a man. They can be like, dude,
I'm fucking.
Exactly. You know, you see Vin Diesel, right? I'm just using names. You see Vin Diesel.
Ruined it. We'll go with a better option. Let's Chris Hemsworth.
Okay, fine. Thor. You see Thor taking his shirt off, and you're like, okay.
Daddy.
Really? This shit is gonna be so whack. I'm just saying. You see that image in your mind. If you're a woman, you're like, right? I can't understand. I can neurologically understand the connection, but emotionally, I don't feel it. I'm not like, ooh, Chris Hemsworth. I don't get that feeling. Doesn't mean I hate on the woman because she does. But from a man's perspective, when I see like Scarlett Johansson, I just picked a name out of the hat. I'm like, yeah, she hot.
Yeah.
Sorry if you see this. It wasn't aimed at you. No. Jennifer Lawrence, okay? Why not?
Watch No Hard Feelings.
Why are you smiling? You guilty. You slowed that shit down, didn't you?
Yeah, she hasn't seen it yet.
No. So, anyways.
She was telling me about it today, actually.
I told you.
Anyways, I lost my train of thought. The point is, there can be
men are not emotional. You can neurologically see.
But either are women. But either are women. There are men that are emotionally attached, and there are women that are emotionally attached.
There's a name for that. It's called demisexual. Just by the way,
did not know that.
Demisexuals are people who can only have sex with someone if they are emotionally connected to them. That is a thing. Men experience it, women experience it, trans people experience it.
I didn't know it.
Non-binary people experience it. There is a thing that is also called asexual, which means you have no sexual attraction. Like, these things are also aspects to think about. And that is something that it is more common for women to be demisexual than it is for men. 100%. It is more common for women to need an emotional connection to have sex. Does that mean that no woman can turn off her emotions and just enjoy a night with someone? No, it doesn't. I mean, like, as he said, pleasure is pleasure regardless of the gender.
That is the case.
Wrap it up and put a bow on it. That kind of says it all right there.
Wait, we got input. We got input from the back.
Well, I'm just gonna say, like, if that is the case, then why is monogamy such a big deal?
Well, okay, my initial response to that is monogamy is not normal. But
How is it not normal?
because through history, monogamy was never a thing.
That is very true.
It wasn't only until recent times that monogamy became an actual thing. And that is strictly respect for your partner
Yep.
being put to a word, monogamy.
You are choosing.
You are,
How
yes.
so?
You are choosing.
Because even like what we discussed earlier with men having multiple women, but the wife only had him.
But
But that was still considered mistresses.
So-
it was in the 50s. It was monogamy was how it was supposed to be. Nuclear families was how it was supposed to be. The man and the woman were supposed to be together, monogamous, but men still had mistresses.
I'm not
Right.
saying that I agree
But
that
my point is
mistresses
that
are a
women
good thing.
did.
I'm just
That's my
saying
point.
that
Yes,
Like it
in
was frowned
historical, with historical proof, monogamy.
I'm listening.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, that's, I don't know, with that, like, I feel like the proof is kind of in the pudding. Like, if we're gonna talk about, like, historical, stats, whatever, history in itself.
You're the stats man.
Well,
But also, history is ever changing. That's why society is continuously changing. Yes,
Yeah.
there
History repeats
was a
itself.
point.
history repeats itself.
It always does.
It always does.
Always
which means,
does.
yeah, we might get back to a point when men have multiple partners, and now it's becoming more popular for women to be bisexual.
Sister wives.
For men to be bisexual, like, it is more common. Maybe there's going to be a point when a man's okay with having multiple, with a woman who wants more women. Like, there's a bunch of aspects to it that, even just because in history, yeah, men had multiple women, doesn't mean that in today's society that is normal. In today's society, monogamy is it. That is the normal. No, it does not mean that if you're polyamorous, you're wrong. It doesn't mean that if you're in a multi-person relationship, you're wrong. If you want multiple wives, you're wrong. That's not the truth. Each culture, each religion, each person.
You have to choose that on your own.
Exactly. It is a choice to cheat. It is your choice to be polyamorous. It is your choice to have multiple wives. It's your choice to have multiple husbands. Like, in reality, like,
Where's the reality show on that? One wife, multiple husbands.
Oh.
I would watch that shit. Because my wife right now loves to watch all those, shows, and it's always the Real Housewives of this, or the sister wives of that, or whatever.
let's see the brother wives. Oh wait, no.
Yeah,
The brother
yeah,
wives.
exactly. I might actually tune in, make it like The Survivor mixed with the Real Housewives, but all dudes. I mean,
And that's what he brought up, history. But if we want to bring up history,
well, he asked a question. He
Well, no, but
asked
he
a
said-
legitimate question
he did.
about monogamy.
But he said
About me, yeah.
in history, men had multiple wives, men had multiple women. But
Well-
also in history, black people couldn't vote. In history,
She just dropped the race bomb. It was like, boom.
no, I'm trying to prove a point here. Women couldn't vote.
Nope.
Like there's a lot of things in history that should not repeat themselves.
Yeah, agreed. And there's a lot of people watching this that might go, that's how it should be. You should probably check out. I'm just saying, you should probably check out. Because this
Maybe you
isn't.
should go find some mental help. Go to a therapist, work through some issues. Maybe your grandpa taught you. I don't know.
That's another topic. Men going to therapy. Sorry.
That is a huge topic.
Big topic.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that is actually
No,
a
no.
very good topic. But let's stick with today's society. History not included. Pleasure is pleasure. Jesus, pleasure is pleasure regardless of the gender.
True?
That is how
Agreed.
today's day and age is viewing sex. Modern women, modern men.
I agree with that.
There are still men, yes, who agree. There are still women who also agree that they should stay pure, and that doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make them wrong. It also doesn't make the person who wants to go out and have 70 people wrong. Like, each person is their own person. They can make their own choices. Does it make you less of a woman or less of a man if you have had multiple partners or have a higher body count? No. Like, in reality, yeah, there's the point where women never complain about a man who has experience. But there's also a point of, have you ever heard a man complain about a woman who has some experience when she doing the Glock 3000? You know? Just saying.
She just dated me. I don't know what that is.
You know?
Well, there are some men who would prefer, and again, with my statements, we're all in general. I'm not saying for everybody, but there are some men.
He's like putting down some foundation.
To have, or to prefer to teach their lady what they like.
I've never had a problem in my life with a woman speaking up and telling me what she wants. I welcome it, because if I can better pleasure you, right? That's better for both of us. You're gonna be happier, and then I'm gonna be happier, because that means more shit happens. Like, that's just real talk.
I'm also saying, men, if your woman is getting off more, she'll probably want sex more. Just by the way. If you're complaining because your wife doesn't put out, is she actually getting anything from you? Just by the way. Just saying.
Maybe she has a headache, okay?
Maybe she does, and maybe it's just because she knows that by the end of the 40 seconds, she's
Oh,
get off.
damn, shade.
Not me.
But
And in case you didn't hear it,
42
Jaylen was
seconds.
over here going, not at me, not at me, not at me.
42 seconds.
that 2 seconds does a lot. I'm just kidding.
All extra thrust, baby.
But
She just crossed the line.
everyone's crossed lines tonight. It's okay. As long as we're not hateful, it doesn't matter.
No. So it's kind of funny, because my mom and I will talk on the phone. She lives 1,000 miles away. And we'll get into political talks.
Oh, goodness.
And we have different views. I'm not an extremist, so I'm willing to listen to the other side's point of views. And a lot of times I agree with them. But there are times where it'll hit on a point and I'm just like, I can't get behind that. And that's my right. But it's also her right to feel exactly how she feels. And I already forgot the point to why I started talking about this. So,
Crossing lines.
nope, I forgot it. It's gone.
There reaches a point.
Gone.
There reaches a point in a conversation where someone has the right to say no, and the other person should respect that no. And if they no longer respect the no, then they're crossing a line in your conversation, in your boundary. Was that kind of what you were getting at?
Nope, not even
Okay.
close.
Well,
I completely
that's
forgot
still
it.
good-
It
that's
is
still a good
gone. It is like 1:30 in the morning. We've been up
It's 3:30 for him.
Yeah, we've been up for hours. We've been playing darts and working on YouTube stuff. I've had a few I've had a couple of beers, not too many.
I haven't had any.
Good for her.
I've had water. I'm a good child.
And but this is real. This is real conversation happening.
Welcome to late night man shit.
Fucking plug of the year right there. Just deep, 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 deep. Anyways, I completely forgot the entire topic that I was going to talk
Let's
about.
flip the switch. Men in therapy.
On the flip side,
On the flip side, men in therapy.
Yeah.
As a woman, I push that every single person, as a person, sorry, not as a woman, because not all women agree with this. I believe that every person should go to therapy. As someone who goes to therapy, as someone who has seen beneficial aspects of therapy for every single person, I've said, hey, maybe you should try therapy. I'm in the military. Mental health is a huge thing. And people who actually seek help tend to get better. It is not a 100% foolproof. It is not a fix-all, but it helps you get things out that you cannot get out, or have not been able to, or felt that you were allowed to. There's a lot of emotions every person carries. There's a lot of traumas every single person carries. Everyone's childhood is different. Everyone's relationships have been different. Everyone's family is different. And with their workplace, every single aspect of that has a toll on you, regardless of your gender. Something is going to happen that can push you over the edge, and you're like, I'm fucking done, send me to a mental institution, you know? Had you gone to therapy a year before, do you think you need to go to a mental institution? But
everybody has a breaking point.
everyone has a breaking point, and the difference, I would say, between men and women is women are more willing to go to therapy, and it's more normalized for women to go to therapy. Men don't like therapy, in my personal opinion, as a woman, because they don't like talking about their emotions, and they don't want to bring up old shit, because they've worked past it. I'm fine. But you'll see it affect them in their daily lives, and they don't see how it's affecting them, but the people on the outside do.
So, from a man's perspective, let me know what you think about this. I hear what she's saying, and I agree to a point. I think from the male side of things, going to therapy is you have failed on figuring it out on your own.
Wrong.
No, but that's what it feels like to me. If I say, you know what, I need to go see a therapist, that means I couldn't do it on my own. That means I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't power through. I could not beat whatever problem I had in front of me. And from a man's perspective, that's a problem.
Yeah, but if your daddy beat you.
I did not beat her, by the way.
She did not. Or she.
Really?
He did not.
It's 2023, man. It's 2023, okay?
He did not beat me, but I'm just saying, as a man who had ever gone through abuse as a child, that's not something, in my opinion, you can just work out on your own.
No, I agree with that.
I think that
doesn't mean you failed as a man.
What's that? I'm sorry.
That was my last point. I just said that doesn't mean you failed as a man.
I tend to disagree a little bit on that one, because I did have a similar, well, not a similar viewpoint, but I used to think that, you know, therapy as a man was not something you just don't do. But when I actually decided to go, what I did learn is that therapy can be extremely beneficial because you aren't always taught
coping mechanisms,
the tools to figure out how to go about those problems and to actually fix those problems.
I agree with that.
I do think that therapy can be beneficial in a many of different circumstances, male or female.
I agree with what he just said. Just to clarify, I was talking about from a man's perspective, the way I see the way men look at the situation. Yes, I've personally dealt with that same feeling of I couldn't deal with this on my own, but just as a whole, as a society, men, in my opinion, look at the idea of counseling or therapy as a failure.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't necessarily think that you should be closed-minded to it. I think if you have problems in your life, you should be willing and want to speak to somebody.
Everyone should go to therapy.
But the problem I have seen on the flip side to that, the flip side is that if you go to a therapist and you spill your guts to that person, you're automatically allowing them to judge you. And that's not something that anybody wants to do, man or woman. They don't want to be judged because they feel a certain way or they think a certain way. They want to work it out. They want to figure out what's going on in their brain so they can make sense of it. And if you feel like you're going to be judged, you're not going to talk. At least that's how I deal with it. If I feel like somebody's going to judge me based off of what I'm going to say,
so hard right now.
I don't give a shit what you think.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Your opinion does not count.
Welcome to my childhood, guys. I'm just kidding.
Anyways.
Once again, he did not raise me.
Wow, that one cut a little bit. Damn.
Shade.
Right? She put the knife in and twisted. Yeah. Anyways, what I was saying is I don't believe that anybody wants to be judged because they feel a certain way or think a certain way. They want to work it out and figure it out on their own. And from a man's perspective, you don't want to put yourself out there at the risk of being judged. Not that therapist would judge you, but because there's a possibility that they could, you're just going to take the precautionary side and say, nah, I'm just not going to do that. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean you should do that. It just means that in my experience talking to other men growing up, that's just kind of how men think. And right or wrong, that's just what it is. You want to be able to figure it out, work it out. You don't want to be judged off bad decisions. Everybody makes mistakes in life. It's going to happen.
Including your therapist.
Yeah. And you should be able to talk about that to somebody that's safe. You got to keep in mind, if you've ever been in any kind of a system with the law or the courts, everybody's a mandatory reporter. So that means if you've ever been burned on the backside of talking to somebody, you are going to have a huge wall up about talking to anybody about anything. And that's something that you really have to just kind of take it day by day.
You also have to consider what mandatory reporting is. They can only report certain things. If you're a harm to yourself, a harm to others.
Right.
If you are.
If they perceive you to be a harm to yourself or a harm to others. which could lead right into like red flag laws. You know, red flag laws, in case you don't know, are a gun control thing. It's a tactic where if a person believes you to be a danger to yourself or other people with a firearm, they can report you, and then the police can get involved with a warrant from a judge, come in and take your firearms away. It's a big questionable area, not because there aren't situations where that should happen. There are, but you don't get due process before your rights get taken away, and that's where the problem comes in. Because if you have rights, you have the right to due process before you lose your rights. And when they circumvent that, it creates a loophole. When red flag laws were first introduced, they were introduced for the right reasons, in my opinion. They were introduced for those extreme situations where somebody was obviously on a downward spiral and they were gonna do something stupid and they could get in front of it. That's what they were designed for initially, in my opinion. And then, but because of politicians doing what politicians do and twisting things around and gaining votes and trying to win elections, and they take that little bit of leeway that was given and they jump on it and they twist it into something else and they use it as a voting platform. Well, you know, this and do that, and then they start implementing things that shouldn't be applied to normal, average people, and they're taking rights away from people that didn't deserve it on a much larger scale. And that's where you get into the problems we have now, where there is a one person that should have had their rights taken away from them because they were literally about to do something stupid, to where a man and a woman can get into an argument and she can call the cops and say, I'm scared for my life, and they come in and they take the man's rights away. That's not okay. Like, just straight up, that's not fair. There's no due process. There's nothing that goes with that. And that is what's normal now. Okay, so let me just pause for 1 second. If a woman is honestly, like genuinely scared for her life because of her ex-husband or ex-boyfriend or current, they have the right to have those feelings and they should be validated. The problem is there are so many women, and I'm just using women and men as a general statement, not specifics, that have the boy who cried wolf about a situation to harm another person because they're mad and it's affected that other person's life forever, is where we get into this problem. And that was a whole 5 minutes of that we can't get back. I just completely went off on a left turn there, but
Men in therapy.
Men in therapy. Points, like really, really valid points.
I believe so. I believe it is a valid point, but that's a whole nother video. Yeah, that's a whole nother video. Nobody wants to talk about school shootings. You know, they suck. There's no way around it. It's fucking horrible.
The school by my house looks like a prison.
No child should be in fear for their life going to school, period. There's nothing else to say about that. And the fact that kids are going to school and getting murdered at school because of some psychopath is unthinkable, and it should never happen. But you can't take away the rights of the people to defend themselves against an outside force, somebody trying to harm them or their family, or, and I'm just going to say it, a tyrannical government, which is the whole reason of the Second Amendment.
Don't change the whole reason.
Which is exactly what's happening in today's society. A government that's trying to take over your rights by disarming you. I'm just saying, it's actually happening. Look at the
tough subject, but he's right.
Just look at the political climate and our president going out there like saying this is what he's trying to do. That is the reason we have these protected rights. And as soon as I fucking spun off and I lost my train of thought. It's gone. Take over.
Back to the subject.
Thank you.
Men in therapy. Men feel that they are going to be judged, they won't want to go to therapy. But in reality, if you look at it, for couples counseling, a lot of people who say, oh yeah, we're in couples counseling, a lot of people think that's immediately because their relationship is horrible. Personally, I don't believe in couples counseling. I've had this conversation with Jeremy. I think I've had it with you. But I personally don't believe in couples counseling. I think you should do individual therapy. If you're not growing together, you're growing apart. Grow on your own, grow together. But if that's the same stigma that I can try to understand, because I am not a man, I don't have the same issues with that. But the way someone says, oh yeah, we're in couples therapy, then it becomes a gossip of your marriage is ending, he cheated on you, she cheated on him, turns into this whole gossip story. If a guy goes, yeah, I'm in therapy, it could turn into another, oh, is he suicidal? Is he going to kill himself? Did he beat someone? Did someone beat him? Like, it could turn into this whole other gossip story. And then on top of that, what he originally had said, if he feels like he's going to get judged and someone is a mandatory reporter and they have previously been burned by the system, then yes, sorry, I'm sick. Then yes, it can,
In the head.
No, maybe a little. Then yes, it can cause an issue for those men to try to go to therapy. I personally, once again, believe that everyone should go to therapy because whether or not you realize it, there's stuff you are carrying with you that you could easily let go of. But the key is finding the right therapist, and a lot of people don't touch on that. You need to find the right therapist. You're not going to click with every therapist. I had to have 3 before I found the one I'm with now, and that doesn't mean they're a bad therapist. That just means they weren't right for you. So you got to look at different options and stuff. But as someone who has seen people go into therapy very, very, very broken and coming out a different person for the better, I truly think that therapy is something that, regardless of your gender, you're going to benefit from. And even if it's just teaching you coping skills, or even if it's just teaching or letting you get emotions out that you haven't been able to get out, or you're finally getting to talk about a trauma that happened when you were 13, or your parents used to beat you, or I was raped, or all of this stuff, things that you can't talk to in a normal friend group. Yeah, you could probably talk to your best friend about it, but they're not going to be able, in reality, unless they're a therapist, be able to give you the proper coping skills that a therapist can, because they've been trained on how to help people help themselves. So I personally believe that everyone should go to therapy. If you're a man watching this and you're against therapy, go to therapy. That's a sign.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Don't knock it till you try it 1 or 2 times.
Way to bring that full circle.
But I do think therapists can give men specifically a different view because they're a neutral party. And
they claim to be neutral.
Most of the time, I will say the right therapists are neutral. And that's another big thing, the right therapist.
Yeah. I agree with Aspen on that one. You should not be closed-minded to the idea of therapy, even if you're a man. But you have to make sure that that person is a good vibe with you. And it might be talking to 2 or 3 buddies that are close friends, not your average just gym buddy.
I met him at the dog park, and I'm going to tell him my whole life story.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Nobody wants to be around that guy.
That's how I met all my friends, so it's a little different, I guess.
She's a woman. It's funny how that works, right?
A lot of people in that friend group are actually men, but it's a whole...
Wow. Okay.
They're not young men. They're actually mostly old men, or they're married. But within that friend group, there's a very good amount of women, there's a very good amount of men, and most of those men have actually been in therapy. One for anger management, so it's a little different, but...
So, anyways, on that note, we're going to jump into the next subject. There was another one that we talked about before we started this filming. There was therapy, body count,
toxic masculinity?
We talked about that. We touched on it.
I feel like there was one more.
There was. I just don't remember what it was. Jaylen, do you remember?
I don't think he did.
I'm honestly drawing blanks myself. It might have been before. Was it something that you and her were talking about while I was handling what I had to handle?
Possibly. I think the only other thing that's really jumping out at me was the idea behind this channel.
Yeah.
Like the reason I want to do it is to provide a positive, masculine role model to people. Teach you how to do things that I see men should do. Know how to work on your own car, change your own oil. If your check engine light, figure out why.
Learn how to use a coder, engine coder, right?
Yeah, know how to load a gun and unload a gun safely. Know how to go to the range and find your sights and hit the target. That's
Maybe
something.
He'll teach you how to drift.
Yeah, if you want to drift, let me know. You pay for tires, I'm in.
I want to learn how to drift.
Move to California for 6 more months. But no, just...
Temporary reassignment.
There you go. Just things that men do. Like, it shouldn't be a bad thing to like the smell of barbecue. Like...
Oh, I love the smell of barbecue. I'm a woman.
It shouldn't be...
Men are cooking it.
Feminism. Yeah. It shouldn't be a bad thing to know how to work on your own car. It shouldn't be a bad thing to want to go to the shooting range and be familiar with the firearms that you have to protect yourself and your family. These are all positive things that have a negative side, image. because of a few people doing bad stuff. Well, guess what? There's always been assholes in the world. It's not going to change.
Touching on tough subjects like toxic masculinity, things we talked about tonight, we could go more in detail on them. We could give you more statistics. We could give you more, and if you guys have ideas, put them in the comments.
Yeah.
That's
comment away.
Too.
This video's...
If you want a subject that you want touched on, that's a rough subject, and you want to hear people's opinion on it, who are very open about talking about it on the internet, hit
Drop
us
a
up.
comment.
You know this
Drop
shit
a
lasts
comment.
forever, right? Like 10 years from now, one of us is going to be like, oh, I can't believe I said that, but it is what it is.
Everything, once again, people make mistakes.
And we'll be talking about that in therapy 10 years.
I remember this one time I was on a podcast, and I said this, and the world ended up hating me, but...
It might happen. Who knows? But I'm at a position in my life where I just don't have time to give a shit if you like me or not. That's not directed at you, but maybe it is.
I'm at a time in my life where I care about everyone's opinion of me.
Yeah, I don't. I've already made enemies and I've made friends, and I have those people. Hopefully the friends will stay in my life for a long time, and hopefully the enemies just go fall off a cliff somewhere. I don't have time to deal with it. I don't have enough time in the day to do all of the tasks I need to do. And
That's why he doesn't sleep.
yeah, and anything else that I want to do. I just don't have enough time in the day. And if you're a man or a woman, just to say, if you have a busy life, you understand. There's just not enough hours in the day to do everything you need to do and the things you want to do. So you have to choose. Am I going to do what's required of me to maintain my lifestyle, or am I going to do what's good for my soul? Because they are two different things. People go to work, which is a 4-letter word, to pay the bills.
Why does the 4-letter word matter?
Because it's a bad word.
Oh, okay.
Work. Ugh.
Ugh.
Ugh. You know what? But that's what it is. It's a 4-letter word. Nobody wants to go to work. Nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, all right, let's go to
Except
work.
for those few people who really, really love their job.
But that's not work
Congrats
anymore.
to you.
That's not work. That's a passion.
True.
So if you're passionate about what you
If you're
do,
getting paid for your passion, you're lucky.
yeah, it's not work.
Yes.
You get to go do what you enjoy all day long and make a paycheck. Good for you. That's awesome. Some people don't have that. They have to go and they grind at something they just absolutely do not like. Tim,
Go
for
to therapy
example.
and talk about it.
But they have to go to work to pay for the therapist.
Okay, if you got good insurance, though. If you don't, check out BetterHelp. Maybe we can get sponsored.
Hey, plug away, plug away.
But he was using Tim as an example. He hates his fucking job.
He does not like his job. But he hasn't quit. And I give him respect for that. From a man, that means a lot. From a man's perspective, quitting
1000%.
and just walking away and just whatever, I have no respect for that. Even if you hate your job.
At least have another job before you quit.
Yeah. Go to work, grind it out, and in your off time, do something about it. Don't just complain and bitch. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody does. Nobody's like, I'm going to go visit so-and-so today, and they're going to complain about their life all day, and this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to get over there. That's not what people do.
But when you get the tea, then it's kind of fun. Oh, you're...
Exactly, man. See? Don't express your feelings. I'm playing.
Go to therapy and express them. But
All right.
Pay for somebody to talk to.
Yeah. How about you pay me to come visit you? And then you
how
can
about
bitch all you want.
Pay us for watching the YouTube channel. How about that?
Is that Patreon? Yeah. I don't even have a Patreon, but sign up for Patreon and give us money. Yay.
Or you can just Venmo us.
All right. And on that note, I think this video is winding to an end. So
It's almost 2 a.m.
thanks for sticking with us. I don't know how long that was, an hour, maybe an hour and a half. We'll do more of these. Not every day, not every week, but
And I probably won't be here because I live 3 hours away.
we can do this remotely.
Fun.
Yeah. We can talk about things, have microphones on, video
We have a
chat.
remote person right now.
Yeah. He's there. You can't ignore him.
Yes,
Even
I
if you
am.
can't see him on the screen, he's there.
And it's almost 4 a.m. for him.
He's like the angel or the devil on the shoulder. Who knows which one?
Probably the devil.
No.
I got 2 devils on the shoulder.
They're double dipping. Damn. All right. Anyways, on that note, thanks for watching Man Shit. Catch you on the next one. Later.